This is the conversation we think the country should be having. Because what would we be talking about if we were talking about what's really important? We'd be talking about what's on the lips of everyone I encounter today. How's my kid going to get a job? I think we've gone through a leap in just the last decade and a half in terms of how information and knowledge is generated and transformed into products and services that is as big as Gutenberg's invention of the printing press, with one difference. Gutenberg played out over 200 years, and this is playing out over 2 decades.
Today we have a brand new problem. We don't have an industrial economy. Increasingly, we don't even have a knowledge economy. We have an innovation-driven economy.
I give very parochial advice on this. I tell parents that I was a Montessori kid, and I'm so thankful for that. It's this completely hippie style of education where there are no grids, there's no curricula, there's no math now and history now. What it taught me was that the world is a super interesting place, and my job, even as a little kid, is not to passively absorb stuff from some adult, but to go poke at the world in ways that were intriguing to me. So these educational systems that encourage this sense of discovery as early as possible in life, I think that's fantastic. At the level of higher ed, you had better treat college as a time to really fill up your toolkit. The silly advice I give is go spend time on both sides of campus. Go spend time with the math nerds or the computer science nerds on one side of campus, and the drama geeks or the English geeks on the other side of campus.
So the first thing I would say is think of yourself as a product. The company is buying your product. What's the product going to make? What is the value it's adding? And how much can you charge for that product? And when you start thinking about yourself as something that somebody's going to need, you frame yourself in a different way. That's the biggest thing. The second thing I would say is, how are you going to hustle your way into a job? Because simply submitting a resume is not going to be enough. So what ins are you going to find? One of my favorite stories is an applicant was applying to a courier company. Okay, this company delivers things. And the applicant, instead of submitting a resume, asked for the courier to come to his home, pick up a little package with a little gift for the hiring manager, as well as the resume, and deliver it back to the company. Right? So that was an interesting approach to actually showing that they understood the value of the company.
My favorite thing to do is walk into an interview and if the first thing they say is, I love what you built, I love the company, it's amazing, then I'm like, all right, this is never going to work. I like when they come in and be like, why did you change the community reward structure to do X, Y, and Z? And so, we try to build a culture at the company where, you're always wanting the company to be better and you're never happy. And so, really, I would say, find me people that are going to push us to be a better business.
How do you get a job at Google? What does it take? What is Google looking for?
Well, so there's 4 things we look for in every candidate. And the 4 things are, number 1, general cognitive ability. And it's not just smarts, but it's problem solving and curiosity and ability to learn. You're much better off hiring somebody who can learn than somebody who necessarily actually knows what they're doing. The main thing we look for is intellectual aptitude and learning ability. Second most important thing we look for is what we call emergent leadership. When we think about leadership at Google, we instead think about people who are willing to step in when there's a difficult problem, and just as importantly, step out when there's not a need for their expertise. The third thing is cultural fit. When we talk about cultural fit at Google, what we look for are people who are comfortable with ambiguity, because we're a pretty chaotic, messy environment on the inside. We look for people who are highly conscientious, because if you have a chaotic environment, you want people who are going to say, oh, look, the water bottle needs to be changed because you have a new person coming on stage and you don't want them drinking somebody else's backwash. And then the last thing is actual expertise. And for the technical roles in the company, which make up about half the company, you actually have to be quite good at engineering. You have to be great at it. For the other roles, though, we take a portfolio approach where we believe for most of our jobs, we don't actually need you to have deep expertise in what you're going to do. Because again, if you hire people who are able to learn and who are conscientious, they'll take something and figure out how to do it.
what are the attributes of people who successfully use LinkedIn to get a job, advance in a job? What are the things, the tips that people should know?
Well, first and foremost, it starts with your profile and representing who you are professionally, your professional brand, your experiences, your skills, your ambitions, what it is you ultimately want to accomplish. And that's increasingly how people are finding you. That is how you're putting your best professional foot forward. And for the vast majority of folks, when somebody searches your name on a major search engine, your LinkedIn profile is showing up at or near the top of those results. People who are already in LinkedIn are also doing searches. And so the more you invest in the relevancy and the freshness of your profile, the more likely you are to show up for opportunities. And I'm not just referring to job opportunities, all kinds of opportunities. People that want to connect with you, do business with you, business development, people that want to invest in your company, companies that you ultimately want to invest in, journalists who are doing primary research. I mean, the list goes on and on. And a profile is not just about text completeness like a resume. Our first objective was to ultimately transform and replace the resume, and we've moved past that. And while there's still work to be done there, the LinkedIn profile now is essentially your professional portfolio. So there's
You see my work.
You can see your work. So take a general contractor who previously would have been describing the dream house they just built. And now they can upload imagery. They can upload video. One of the two of us, or both of us, may upload a video of today's presentation. And that's going to appear on our profile. A keynote presentation that you did that you're really proud of that demonstrates your ability, your vision, your company's vision. Those are the kinds of things that increasingly are on LinkedIn.
The marketplace is great at using carrots and sticks. Collaboration, imagination, commitment, dedication, loyalty, the resilience, all the qualities that we want from people. You can't shift for. The only thing that has ever elevated another human being is a mission worthy of their loyalty, a purpose that implicates who they think they are in their sense of dignity and honor, values of fairness and honesty that allow people to lean in, trusting people with the truth, they got to have it, and finally, not seeing people as cogs and they're not there as part of your execution plans. You got to give them a journey. Life is a journey. And the reason I think life is a journey is it's curvilinear. It goes up and down. But the business world has said no journeying here. Everything has to be linear. For the next 5 years, profits are going to go like this, revenue like this. And when you try to superimpose through planning and control and analytics, linearity in a curvilinear world, you start to create all sorts of games and detachment. And if life and business are merging, then business and leadership have to be about journeys and not plans and implementation.